So for as intense and insane as this week's episode of My Hero Academia truly was, I have to make the joke. I had to laugh when there was the moment where they're all trying to figure out, how do we get this jar that will put Big Boy to sleep into his mouth? And then like 2 seconds later, after they're done discussing, they'd focus in on him and he'd just be running with his mouth wide open. And you can just think of so many ways that if you just shoot a cannon or something into his mouth, it'd be game over. Obviously, it's a lot more difficult than just that, but the anime had a funny way about directing the threat of that when you just see his giant mouth open as he's running 90% of the time. But with that said, they did an amazing job with that portion. I truly thought most of the episode would be focused on Deku and crew, just given the cliffhanger. Holy shit, he's looking for him, here he is, that's going to be the main focus, and instead, about over half of the episode was actually focused on this giant battle. We had Mount Lady, she was holding on for dear life, she tried ripping open the mouth. There's a lot of really fun content, and honestly, throughout watching that entire section, I just couldn't tell, are they going to win or not? It seems like they did get at least one jar in, it broke in, so it will take a little bit for it to activate, but prior to him passing out, I think he's going to be launching probably an even bigger rampage, knowing that time is running out for him, so we'll see where that goes. The big thing about this episode that everyone's going to be talking about is seemingly Eraserhead losing his quirk, and honestly the fate of Gran Torino being very much up in the air given the brutal beatdown that he did get from Shigi. Now there's a full live reaction available on the Patreon if you're interested, of course, but let's talk about this one, and I definitely want to talk about Shigaraki's stuff first, because we literally have one for all 100%, Deku willing to do whatever it takes to beat this fool from launching that bullet, because they know firsthand what these basically quirk destroyer bullets will do to anyone, and the fact that you're one person who's preventing you from honestly getting a one-side annihilation and instead are just having a one-sided beatdown literally is Eraserhead. He's not blinking, he's making sure the abilities are sealed off, and throughout multiple videos now I've been saying like it feels like he's going to win, and this is me saying he's going to win quirkless, all things considered. And if that bullet really did limit or destroy his ability. Now, there's always a possibility it was a faulty bullet, there's always a possibility it didn't fully pierce him. There's a lot of ways shit could go that, you could get around it, but based on the devastation we've seen this season, I'm willing to bet that our boy literally just lost his quirk. I was betting more on him dying, that was truly my assumption. Not saying I expected it this episode, but I was like, okay, if someone has the ability to limit arguably the person who's about to destroy everything, I mean, he kind of has a death flag, and instead they make it even worse in a lot of ways, because a man like, Eraserhead not being able to do something that he knows would be able to save so many lives is going to be far more painful and devastating for him than him getting killed, right? It's just, he dies, he's not going to have to feel anything, but having his abilities removed and looking at probably the carnage that he won't be able to stop, because Shigi's the type of asshole who will let him live, be like, well, you're no longer a threat to me, I'll let you live so you can see the beauty that I'm about to craft with the blood of all your fallen comrades. And that's the type of crazy shit that just makes him such a terrifying villain, on top of the goddamn petrifying faces. Like, I can't be the only one who looks at Shigi, the white eyes, there's no pupils, and throughout the episode he gets crazier and crazier to the point that if you saw a man like Shigi in an alleyway, you know damn well you're dead at that point. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You are 100% screwed. And I love what they did with the music, man, and you can really pay attention to it if you go back and watch this. So the music starts out with them more or less like trying to push him down, and the music's kind of like calm. It gives me a calm before the storm vibe. It's not intense, it's not hype, it's not horrifying, it's a low beat with a calm before the storm atmosphere. And then he breaks away and they start fighting, and then it becomes more shonen battle music. You can't really tell which side's winning or losing, it's the typical shonen music. But by the end of the episode, it then evolves into cultist music. Those types of music tracks where it sounds like you could play it in the Church of Hell, it's just very satanic and things like that. The way they used music to like escalate him from being subdued to then breaking free to then completely giving a beat down. There's just so much to this that it's hard not to get hyped up, but then on the other hand feel so devastated. You see Gran Torino get literally beat down to the point that I'm convinced he's probably going to die if he's not dead already. I'm still convinced, Midnight's we're never going to see her again after last week. I mean, Mount Lady, who the hell knows where her fate's going to go, and Eraserhead probably will live but be quirkless. So there's just so much bad things happening to these characters, but it's hard not to say, like, this feels almost like what we've been building up to this entire time with My Hero. There's been so many W's on the hero side, whether on the students, whether on the pro heroes, and yes, there's been sacrifice and loss, but never to this degree. And to build into this where we're now like 8 episodes into the season or so, and honestly, it feels like this is just getting started, that this isn't even going to cover half of what Shigi's overall arc going forward will be, and that's really impressive, because truly at this point, I don't think you can top Shigaraki as a villain. He has such a hatred for heroes, and it comes from a place that you can see how he got there. Even though we have a bigger picture of hero society as a whole, when you put yourself in Shigi's shoes about this system where basically you put all your hopes in these heroes and the heroes profit off it and the heroes never came for him and they pick and choose, you can see how he got into that mindset of let's destroy it all. There's no point in this. And to see him in this episode, I mean, there's moments where you can't tell what did he just do. Like at one point he punches through a hand, and I was like, did he just punch through a goddamn neck? And it's just, that's the type of arc we're in, where the blood that we see can literally be a death blow at any possible moment. And like I said, most of this episode was actually focused on the other side, dealing with this giant, and honestly, the giant fight kind of came across as like Attack on Titan-ish, and I really enjoyed that. The way they tied him down, the way the steam would then release, there was just a lot of really fun variety moments, and truthfully, I think they're doing the best they can. It does feel to me like they're pretty close to taking this guy out for good. It's just the issue is it didn't kick in right away, because when you go back and look at it, it does look like the way it broke off after the last throw, it looks like the juice did get in his mouth, but it's not kicking in like immediately because he didn't swallow the whole thing. So it's probably going to be like they still need to put up a fight as he passes out sort of a thing, or they'll need to throw more in. I don't know which one, but he basically covers his eyes and he goes into turret mode and is just going to cause a giant ruckus and won't even like shed a tear at any of the casualties he does do. But I think what I like about an episode like this is there's some unexpectedly funny moments in the midst of like intense scenes. Like you'll have characters who will do things and will be giving a dramatic speech, and then you'll have other characters be like, yo, are you okay? Like that doesn't look like it's okay there. And I like the fact that they can have some fun in the middle of such a depressing or exhilarating arc where you're worried about literally every character other than Deku. Like that's kind of how I feel right now. Like Deku's the one character I'm convinced, yes, he'll make it to the next arc, of course, but everyone else, it's a coin toss. Like that's honestly how it feels. Like anyone could say, you know, well, you know, Todoroki's fine, he'll live, and this character will live, and sure, you can make an argument probably for any character in a lot of ways, but as we've seen in this arc, they're not pulling their punches. This is a giant war where casualties are going to be insane, both on civilian, hero, and villain side, and that's what I really, really like about it. Like, I mean, we're only 8 episodes in or so, and I'd already say it's my favorite My Hero season, and this is me saying that over seasons that have 25 episodes that I can compare to, and I'm only, you know, a third of the way through this one. And honestly, I'm just glad this one, you know, was structured in the way it did. I know a lot of people didn't like the restructuring that they did in the prior season, but I think knowing that I won't have a break to lead into the next crazy section of this story makes me really happy, because there's no way I could wait. You know, I've done it plenty of anime before, but I'm just really happy that after episodes 12 or 13, wherever this section of the story leads off, we can just transition into the aftermath, the next stage, whatever it may be, and there will be no breaks on the pain train that is so damn hype. But thoughts and feelings down below. What did you think of this episode? It's pretty crazy. Honestly, like, there's so many characters that I just am truly thinking are gonna die by the time the season's over, or the show's over, I guess I should say. But thoughts and feelings down below for sure. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I mentioned, there's the live reaction available on the Patreon. You can also get other perks like video shoutouts and a lot of other fun little things, so consider that if you so wish. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.